Good morning, everybody. So firstly, I'd like to start by thanking my sponsors, the Trehane Trust and also Dartington Cattle Breeders Trust. Without their help, the trip probably wouldn't have been possible and my study wouldn't have been possible. My opening slide can represent a lot of things. This was in Bang Dung. I did wonder where I was heading when I headed towards Bang Dung, but in Indonesia, okay. It can either be the little white spot down by the bull's horn and see the challenge of promoting dairy as a viable career to youngsters, as a long journey with small steps that actually can end up living in the big house at the top if it's successful. Or actually it can be, is it a view of the dairy industry slightly overweight, unfit and for purpose and in need of a bit of a health check. So, anyway. Okay. So dairy, are we a sunset industry or are we actually a sunrise industry? I challenge the belief that we're actually a sunrise. This was the Sea of Galilee. So we need to develop ourselves and show people the future potential. The real issue and probably the real title of my study is who will milk the cows in the future. So, okay, I've identified three main factors. There's the capability, engagement and quality of people. Of people. Everybody says they look for the light bulb moment when you're doing your study. I'd spent days and days in Wisconsin traveling around very big, very intensive dairy units. I walked across the field with a gentleman to go and spend an afternoon with this Amish farmer. All you could hear was birds singing, the jingle of the tack on the horses working, and there was the light bulb. It was the noise. I had to seek the clarity to find out what we need to do. We all understand as farmers and as gardeners or even head gardeners that to grow a good crop we have to cultivate. So to cultivate and then we can motivate the people involved. It starts with the seed bed. So we have to look at ourselves and look in the mirror. Are we actually doing a good enough job at cultivating and extending our knowledge and our ability to employ people and develop people and give them the passion and purpose in life? And also then it starts with the seed. Are we actually getting the best seeds coming from the schools? Are we getting the right people coming to the industry? So I'll go on to capability. It can go right through the whole thing of the four things they're showing. The capability of people is immense. As these little guys in Indonesia show, the capability of these guys, they were feeding 1,800 cows like this, 56 tons a day cut by hand. But it was all about protecting the crop that was growing. They would not drive that truck on to damage any regrowth. It was look after the future regrowth and then the sustainability of that business. Okay, we come on to engagement then. Secondly, are we as an industry engaging ourselves? As individuals and as an industry. I believe that we have to do more, and I've tried to demonstrate that, as you'll see. We have to get involvement of the wider dairy industry and the whole of agriculture. Get manufacturers involved. Forward were great when we did a project, but it's right through. We have to engage with government. We have to engage leading businesses, individuals that are supporting and actually helping the country grow, paying taxes, rather than allowing maybe pressure groups that actually represent the majority. We have to send the right message to government that actually it is a good place to work, and then that will filter right down through the whole education system as well, I believe. So how do we then pose the future to our future employees to make them actually think, can farming be your future? Okay? We're not doing it as an industry, right, wholly and solely. Okay. Now we can move on to the quality of people. People, are we getting the right people in? As I've said before, we have to grow people like we grow crops. As John has previously said as well, it's all about growing people, and they drive profit in businesses and industries and countries. Too many places I've seen, we have moved on to systems, industrialized systems that are taking technology on board, which is all good and well, but we're actually seeing a lot of jobs being put down, and they're becoming robot workers, which can easily be replaced by machinery. People that go there and they will milk 12-hour shifts. just doing an individual job. I believe now it's time to take hold of people and actually develop them and give them responsibility. So what have I done? We set up, through my studies, I came across, there was a career show right throughout the country that was free to join and grow. In our own county of Cornwall, the skills show was held. We had 3,500 children from 14 to 18-year-olds come through in a day and a half that we had a chance to connect with. I inquired, was agriculture represented? Not at all. In Cornwall, there are 10,000 jobs employed within agriculture in our county. It was not going to be represented. I said we had to call for action and go, get some help. Culture is changing. It was an extremely enlightening experience to meet all these young people and to come up and then they see the sign on our agricultural stand. And the main question that was asked of us is, what is agriculture? Is that a stinging thing of our lack of knowledge as an industry? What have we been doing to promote ourselves? Culture has changed. Everybody's into technology, and working together. So, it's actually how do we actually bring agri back into culture and make it part of mainstream life again? We have to start, and we have to, as an industry, go back to schools. I'd like to challenge everybody here today as Nuffields. When was the last time you went to a careers fair or you went to your local secondary school and actually promoted yourself and said, can we produce jobs here? There are jobs available for you to take over. We have to go in there, and I went back to my old school for the first time since I left at 16. It was a very scary moment when I went past my old classroom and the seat was in the same place that I went and I could remember at 11 years old. Met my old teacher. He said agriculture is being removed wholly and solely from geography. It's being removed from several other subjects. We have to go in and have to address this. Schools and the teachers are actually desperate for help, but we have to go in and say, how can we help you? Not go into schools and other career fairs and say, we want. It's how can we help? We'll get a far better response. Okay. Then it comes on to farm. Are we doing the right things on farm, getting systems in place? This was the only organic farm in Israel. The atmosphere on this farm, and compared to most of the other farms I visited in Israel and most of the other industrialized centers, they were just happy. Everybody in that parlor was smiling. The whole atmosphere of the whole farm was an outstanding contribute to that one man with the passion and drive to build that. In comparison to the farm I visited in Kansas, that poor man was milking at 42-degree heat for a 12-hour shift, putting cups on with a 40-minute break all day, with 6 days a week, with 1 week's unpaid holiday a year. How sustainable? How are we going to promote that as an industry, as a viable career? So I challenge everybody. Everybody likes shiny new tractors and appreciate that, and we don't blink an eye at spending an extra few £100 a month on your monthly payment. We need to treat our staff as well as that shiny new tractor and appreciate that if we pay them a little more and we maybe get a better response from people as well. Okay, retaining staff. Okay, we all love the show cow or the show bull. They're high profile. They come and they go. They win a show a time or two. How much profit do they actually bring to a business? Okay, the core profit drivers are the cows in the middle, the cows that we don't recognise. And I believe that in a dairy technician or a second in charge or third in charge, they're your main profit drivers in the long term. By keeping them in the business and the whole industry, we will drive profit productivity. Because a lot of the dairy industry, we're actually ending up with a lot of these. Okay, so we have to move on. We have to get these better people coming in. Okay, initiatives. I've seen some fantastic initiatives all around the world. In Australia, they based secondary year 9 education around dairying through Cows Create Careers. Fantastic initiative. That was one of the best I've seen in the worldwide. Other initiatives that I've come across, which are probably world leading, are right here in the UK. Bright Crop is a fantastic initiative that is just being started off as well as RET in Scotland, and there is so much work going in Scotland. We have to remember we are still a union, just that we have to work together across the nations. And but if we can just get action, that is what Britain is lacking. We are great at developing strategies and initiatives. What we actually lack is driving these through and getting action quickly enough to make the most of the opportunity we have today with the media coming on side and presenting different agricultural programs and food is very high profile. We have to make the most of now. So please remember that website and visit it, and potentially join up as an ambassador. They will train you. We as a group are trained in speaking, sort of, that we can go and we can present ourselves to school and show agriculture as a whole, not just dairying, as a viable career. I would like to just leave you with one thought. Replace business owners with that quote. I'd just like you to take it in for a few seconds. And I'd like you just to think about the power of negativity. If the word can't is spoken too often in this country. And with negativity and the negative sign, if you put that negative sign underneath the T, it actually can't transform that statement from can't to can I. And can you please remember that as a statement? Thank you very much.